Hello, my name is Daniel Aspinall and this is the third and final video log for my assignment 2 on my course Sports Coaching and Development at UCLAN. So in this video I'm going to be talking about what the next steps for my placement, which is Eccles RFC, are and what they're trying to do, what I think personally they can improve on, my overall thoughts about the general direction that Eccles is moving in at the moment, and how I can link it to the bigger picture, such as aligning with government schemes such as a new strategy for an active nation, which was proposed by the Department of Culture, Media and Sport. So let's start off with what the next steps for Eccles are. So according to Eccles and being in the committee meetings and experienced the talk within the club, their two main focuses are increasing participation levels, which I talked about before, as this will give them a good pool for not only for the future when they want to draft open age players, but also a firm foundation to build on and work with, and it maybe introduce more schemes such as the DV into it at an earlier stage. But also they want to try and include more parents into the club. By this I mean, instead of going down and watching their child or whoever they're minded play on a Sunday or train on a various weekday, it's getting them more involved, such as watching the first team, helping out behind the scenes, maybe doing some coaching badges, some health and safety badges, safeguarding. It's trying to keep them involved and get them engaged and buy into the Eccles culture, which I think is a very good idea. However, something that I've noticed that they can improve on, being there not only 10 years as a player, but specifically as a coach over the past year, is the pyramid of communication can be very distorted, such as I've asked for some equipment in the past and I've received word back 3 weeks later saying, oh, I'll ask this person to do it, and it's very distorted. It needs to be more clinical and more clean cut, which obviously over time that will work, and with a bit of practice. I propose using a pyramid of command, which is essentially a pyramid. So it starts up with the person who's the chair, which is Paul Flem, and then it goes down towards the safeguarding officers, make sure it's acceptable to go to the clubs, and then it branches out into all the little age groups and finds out to the bottom, which would be the overall players and parents. So that's what I think they can improve on. It is a very, very well-run club, especially when you bring in the fact that it's entirely run on volunteers, apart from 2 people, which is amazing in my eyes. My overall thoughts about the general direction of Eccles, I think they're moving well in a good sense, but in the current climate that we have now, it's very much the age of technology which is taking over. So we've got to, as a club and as a sport and also as a nation, we need to make sure that we're putting sport on a pedestal and making it something that everyone can have and everyone can look forward to and be a part of. During a recent study in 2016, it was found that the number of children achieving their requires 60 minutes a day of exercise decreased by 40% in the past decade, which is a staggering amount. I remember when I was a child, I was running around and being active as possible, but 40% decrease over a decade in 2016 is not the way forward. And Eccles as a way is trying to bring in schemes such as the grassroots schemes, and also looking at going out into schools and going to community rugby officers and getting them more involved. So linking it to the bigger picture, so the government-wise, as I mentioned before, the Department of Culture, Media and Sport has set out a strategy called the New Strategy for an Active Nation, which was set out in 2015. So this aims to get 5 key outcomes such as physical well-being, mental well-being, individual development, social and community development, and economic development. I think Eccles are heavily emphasising 2 out of the 3 things, 2 or 3 main goals, and by achieving this, they're trying to So, in order to achieve social and community development, they are heavily emphasising that there is increased player opportunities, there increased volunteering opportunities, and the spectating of the sport is paramount. That shows with the recent investment of the balcony at the clubhouse, which was completed in 2017, and that has enabled more people to watch games, not just for the first team, but also for under 14s and upwards, and also under 6s, under 7s, under 8s, under 9s sometimes also have the Astro that they can play on, meaning that there is more space for them to play and more space for people to watch them. Also, they are trying to focus on the inactivity side of things. So when we're running sessions as coaches, we don't like the kids standing around. We want to get them as active as possible, even if it's just a simple game of tag or a simple game of hop tail just to get the hands warm. That is ultimately minimising the time that they are staying inactive, which at rugby, when they come to train, they don't come to just stand around and listen to us. And the main thing is that they're getting active more and more. This has a knock-on effect to one of the outcomes which I mentioned before, which is physical and mental well-being. Physical well-being is 100% a big thing, but mental well-being is of paramount importance as well. If you have the mental well-being to play a sport, the physical well-being will also knock onto it, and they both collide together and support each other. So overall, these 3 video logs have been just an insight to my placement and what I think the club is doing well, how we're aligning to our national governing body, and how we're also helping the government, and how we're listening to the government a bit. Being a part of Eccles has been a massive improvement for me, and I feel like I have come out my shell a bit more. And all I can say is thank you to Eccles, and thank you for listening.